Welcome to this bite-sized PD where the topic is an introduction to Lucid and the Lucid Canvas integration. So the learning intention for this session is that you're going to learn how to access, use, and share a Lucid Spark and Lucid Chart creation so that you can design and create learning experiences for your students. And then you'll know you're successful when you know how to access and start creating something in either Lucid Spark or Lucid Chart. And my hope with this specific PD is that by the end of this, you're willing to at least know how to get into and access and get started, but go and actually try creating something and start thinking of the ideas and possibilities that there are in regards to using Lucid Spark or Lucid Chart or both with your students. So here's a quick rundown of the agenda. I'll just do a quick, what is it? How do you access? I'll spend some time with Lucid Spark specifically, and then I'll share a little bit of Lucid Chart, and then I'll talk about how you can share with students, whether it's directly through Lucid or in Canvas. Now, remember with the bite-sized PDs, it's just touching the surface. We'll have more to come that can dive a little deeper on each of these pieces, but today you're going to get a good overview of what this program can do. So what is Lucid? So Lucid itself is the company behind Lucid Spark and Lucid Chart. So you'll see there's Lucid Spark, Lucid Chart. Lucid Spark is more like a virtual whiteboard, which is used more for brainstorming, ideation, collaboration, and those the two images you'll see on the top of the screen. If you are someone who uses things like the Nearpod collaboration board, a Padlet, or you were a user of Jamboard, Lucid Spark's a great replacement for any of those. I know, especially for people who used Jamboard, finding a replacement you've liked. We did have a bite-sized PD earlier this year where we shared various options. Lucid Spark was actually one of them. And then Lucid Chart is more for graphic organizers. It's where you can create flowcharts, mind maps, even organizational charts. And you'll see the pictures on the bottom of the screen give you a glimpse of what that can look like as well. So how to access, something that's really neat because we use Canvas in our district. We now have access to the premium features of Lucid when you activate your account through Canvas. So in order to do that, you go to any Canvas course in your Canvas account with Canyon School District, and you'll click on Lucid Whiteboard in the navigation, and I'll actually click out of that just for a second to show you. So when I'm in a Canvas course, you'll see on the side navigation, there will be something called Lucid Whiteboard. And when you click on it, and I can't remember because I have connected mine already, you basically click on the link that's provided and follow the prompts to connect your account. And then once you're connected, you can click on Explore Lucid, and that will take you to lucid.app, and it logs you in with your canyonsdistrict.org credentials. So once you've activated your account, I'm going to go back to the slideshow, you'll see where you can keep accessing it through Canvas, and it opens that additional tab. And that's for you as the teacher to get in and create. Or you can go to lucid.app, that's the address, and log in with your Microsoft. And actually, let me make sure I am logged in. Yeah, so if you aren't logged in, you'll see a login screen. You click on login with Microsoft. Don't do Google, do Microsoft, and that way you can make sure you're connected with your canyonsdistrict.org credentials. And if you ever need help with logging in, feel free to reach out to me and I can help you as you get started. So starting with Lucid Spark, talking about just the virtual whiteboard itself, and I'll jump over to Lucid Spark in just a moment and show you some of this, but this is where you can start with a blank board or templates. You can add text, sticky notes, shapes, lines, various organizers that you can bring in. So even though Lucid Chart is more for the flow charts, graphic organizers, you can still do that within Lucid Spark as well. You could add images, you can add video, and right now I'm working with our IT department to find out for sure if the YouTube videos will work since YouTube is blocked K-8 for our students. I'm working with them to make sure maybe dynamic whitelisting can work, but we're still working through that. You can do freehand drawing. So if you are a teacher who utilizes an iPad and you like to annotate right on the screen, this could be an option for you as well. I'll show you some of the collaborative AI features, and then there's Lucid cards. So going over to Lucid Spark, I'm going to jump into one of the Lucid Sparks I've already started. When you're creating, you can click on New. You can see Lucid Chart or Spark, choose blank board or create from a template. So I'm just going to open one that I've already started. And when you're in here, and once you create, maybe you start with a blank slate and you're like, I really do want a template. At any time, you can click on templates and bring a template into your onto your canvas. So you'll see the different options you have where you can search, you can look through different categories. So templates are always nice when you don't want to start with a blank screen. But for my blank screen, you'll see where I was able to add text. You can just click on the T and place the text box where you want it to go. And that's where you can see you can type something. So I have survival on a new planet. And when you double click on the text, you see where you have your formatting options where I can change the font, the size, bold, italicize, some of the formatting options, or even provide a link. So you can definitely make it interactive. One thing you can do as well, there is this AI, collaborative AI, where if I need to help summarize, and I'm going to show this in action as well, because sometimes having this part of your workflow is really nice to have. The YouTube video, I did actually just go to YouTube. This is where you can get the link and just click where I want, somewhere where I want to go on the canvas, paste, the YouTube video is there, and I can move it around where I want it to go. So this is where, once again, I am just ensuring how the YouTube videos will work based on our filters, but if you choose to add a video, that's what you can do. There is the sticky note option. So this is where it feels very much like Jamboard that we're used to. You can choose by color, and you can add your text. And you can see where, once I have it selected, the squares on the corners is what allows me to change the size. I'll show you what the circles do in just a moment, but you'll see with the sticky notes, I can change, I can adjust the text, I can add a link. As you're having students, if you turn this into a collaboration board, you could have students add reactions to various sticky notes. It could be a way for people to vote or react to the different ideas that are being put onto the canvas. You can add tags, which can be a way to help categorize, and then wrap the content. I actually haven't played with that one. And actually, some of these things I'm actually going to share with you in just a moment. So I'm going to ignore this option right now. And you will see there is a lock. So anytime you want things locked, like if I want the text locked so students can't go in and change it or move it around or delete it, sometimes that happens by accident, I can lock those items. One thing with a sticky note that I really like as well, you'll see where it says add stickies to the canvas. This is where you could type what you want on the sticky and have it automatically added. You can also have the sticky note bank that you can have on your canvas. And I'm going to delete that. And this is where it's already here and students can just come and drag the stickies and add their content. And you will see that's where I actually have my name listed. There is a place where you can hide the names if you like. When I'm working with students, I actually like having the names there so I know who's writing what. But this is where I can show you what the circles on the side of the stickies do, or any object that you have on your canvas. It's a way for you to draw an arrow and connect ideas together. So you can see where you can make a flow chart of sorts. So I'm deleting these for a reason because I want to show you something really cool that you can do in just a moment. So you can add shapes, you can add lines. I'm going to skip this again for a second. You can add images. The cool thing is I can search. So maybe I'm looking for planets, and you can just drag it over. You can see where you can actually upload. And you can actually drag images from your desktop over. There is the pen eraser, so I can actually draw and annotate right on top. I can do a highlighter. I have seen situations or heard ideas of teachers adding a PDF document here and having students annotate on top of it. One thing about that I haven't tested that I do worry about is accessibility. If students are using screen readers, I am not sure yet how, let's see if I can delete this. I'm not sure how the screen readers do. When I was testing it out briefly, the screen reader wasn't reading the PDF text. And so I would be very cautious about that if I know I have students using screen readers. But I wanted to show you this really cool part where you can generate ideas. So these other two right now are grayed out because I don't have anything for it to summarize or sort. So if I want to generate ideas, and I already had the text here, so I basically just added my same text. So imagine you and your team have crash landed on a newly discovered planet, brainstorm ideas on what you need to make sure you need to survive. So you can put anything here. You can say like states of matter, whatever the topic might be, or the ideas you're looking for. If I click on generate, you're going to see that it generates different options for me. And so now if I select all of these and go back here, I can say sort selection. And so the sort selection doesn't have to be based on what was generated. If you had students who added all of their own stickies, you could then select all of the stickies you want it to sort. You can just do a Command A, you can click, I use the Shift key to select multiple stickies, and you'll see where it did its best to put it into 3 categories. And this is where I can always double click and edit the text if I need to. But it's kind of cool to see that it is grouping them and putting them into categories for me. And then the other option is to summarize the selection. So maybe you had students brainstorming something, you wanted to get a summary of what everyone was saying. Right now, you're only seeing Camille addresses basic needs because there's only one person who is contributing. It's me right now. And so you can see where it's doing its best as well to summarize what these essentials are. So that's kind of a quick glimpse of just the whiteboard itself. I definitely recommend that you can explore, some of these other tools, and I'm going to touch on a few more in just a moment. And I will talk about how you can share as well. So the next thing I want to show you is the facilitator panel. Because as the teacher, when you're facilitating this with students, when you're doing brainstorming, you always want to make sure you are, especially if you have multiple students or you have students collaborating on one whiteboard, you want to make sure you are very much facilitating the activity. So I'll show you how you can access the facilitator tools and controls. And this is where you can do a laser pointer, you can take the lead, meaning you can actually have students on their screens watching you, like you're taking over where they can actually kind of follow what you're doing. You can broadcast, meaning you can send a message to everyone as they're working independently. You can add a timer, you can provide some opportunities for voting, like you actually can create a survey. And then when it comes to collaboration, you can actually follow a collaborator. So maybe you want to follow what a student is actually doing at that moment. You can adjust collaborator colors, so meaning every person has, or you don't adjust them specifically, but you can turn it on or off. This just allows different collaborators to have different colors to help see the different people. The show authors, this is where I like seeing the student names, just so I know who is submitting. I haven't tested it out whether or not show authors just hides it from all the other collaborators versus me, the teacher. I'm gonna double check that. And then make you the facilitator is how you actually get to the tools and controls. So showing you where that's at in Lucid Press, those facilitator controls will be in the upper right-hand corner. You'll see right now where I do have timer, the voting, and even the private mode are automatically there. So this is where you could set a timer for how long the activity is. You could add some music. You can create a voting option. And then right here, you'll see where you can follow the collaborator. Once again, it's grayed out right now because I don't have any collaborators on this project. I'm not seeing cursors once again because no one else is on here. You can see where I can toggle some of these options on and off. And then to make me a facilitator, this is where you can do the laser pointer. So this is where students would see on their screens if you're wanting to circle and highlight something. And notice the laser pointer does not stay the entire time. And then the broadcast, this is where I can send the message, and it usually appears in the bottom left-hand corner in a black box that comes up. And then with the controls, you can enable those as well. So some things that you can definitely do as a teacher as students are working and collaborating together on the project. And so going back to the presentation, frames and paths, and I'm just going to briefly talk about this today just based off time. But there is going to be a future bite-sized PD that will go in more depth with the frames and paths. So what this allows you to do is it allows you to draw attention to specific content on a board. So you'll see where you create the frame and then I could actually put sticky notes and even like a video, a GIF, other information in one. It's like putting it in the same box so it's grouped together. And then what paths can do is a way for you to guide students through each frame. And actually, I'm going to click on this example. When I clicked on it earlier, it wasn't working exactly, and I'm not exactly sure why, but you'll get the general idea. And once again, I'm going to do a PD later that will go deeper and focus just on the frames and the paths. But you'll see where this right here is one I got from Lucid. So I don't know what I did to maybe break it. So I might have broken it. But you'll see where there's different frames where the content is put together. And it's set up in a way where I can actually go through this. And it's actually starting here, the intro slide. And what it's supposed to do, the path is set up where I can click on this and go to the next. Once again, I think I broke it right before I came to present this, but how I learned Lucid Spark initially was I went through this, watched the videos, read the content provided, clicked on the arrow to go to the next slide, and the path took me to the next portion, and they put me in the right order. They kept me in the right order of progression. So that's the idea of paths and frames, is a way to group information together. It's a way to almost make it as a presentation of sorts, so students can just click next and go to the next part of the activity. It makes me think a little bit about when you had Jamboard and you had multiple Jamboards that kids could click the arrows to go to the next slide. It's kind of that idea, except the frames and the path is all within that Lucid Spark whiteboard. So stay tuned for an upcoming PD on that so we can learn more. This is one that I think is really neat. You can actually create interactive activities and provide them. They call them visual activities, where you can have students complete activities. You can actually then view results and just see where students are at. So when I go into Lucid Spark, and I'm actually going to go back to my main screen because I actually started one. So you would just go to Lucid Spark, create a new, I started from a blank board. I'm going to open it. And so you'll see what I started, and I'll show you how I got this added to the screen. It's the little rocket ship, and this is where you search for an activity that you can add to your whiteboard that you can then adjust. So for this one, I believe it was organize is what I searched, because I'm talking about the states of matter. I think it wasn't specifically this. Actually, it might have been this one that I added to my board. And once it came over, I just clicked on the text. I edited it to say liquid, solid, liquid, gas. There were 4 boxes. I got rid of the 4th because I just want 3. And you'll see where I edited the text. I can always add and delete what I don't want. This right here will be blank. And so I actually added the image. So I'm going to go to the image icon on the navigation bar, click on image, and I'm going to look for liquid molecules. And I can find what I would want for my liquid molecules, and I just drag it over. And something you're going to notice is there's a little green circle with a hand. This is telling me that I'm making this a draggable object. So anything you don't want students to drag, you can click on it and make it a gray circle. But I want these, the idea I'm having for this is I want them to be able to drag the things to the appropriate category. So I'm just going to add a couple just so you can see where I have images. Once again, you can bring in your own images. Let me see what images I have on my screen. So I can bring over, like you can just do a click and drag and bring it over. So you're not limited to what's on your screen. You can drag it from your desktop. If you have another, if you have it stored somewhere else, just click and drag it in. I'm going to do a gas molecule. Just drag it over, and once again, I can adjust the size. Being careful that I'm not clicking on the circles to adjust the size, because that's how you can connect them via arrows. Let me just do a couple more. Let's do images. I'm going to do steam. Oops. Let's do smoke. So I'm just going to do this. So you can see where I can keep dragging as many images. And I'm doing images. It doesn't have to be images. It actually can be text as well. And so I can add, so maybe because I wanted steam before and it wasn't showing up. I want to be a little bit bigger. Okay, so you can see where it can be text, it can be a shape, it can even be a sticky. So whatever you're bringing in here, let me just add rock. Let's make that a little bit bigger. Okay. And let's say I can always preview this. So when I click on preview, I can see what it's going to be like for the student. So they would have to drag it over to the correct box. So this is just a way for me as the teacher to test it out. And so I'm going to go back to editing. And let's say I'm ready for, I'm going to save and I'm going to share. I'm going to show you what this looks like for, and I'm just going to say this to view because I don't want students to edit the activity. I just want them to participate. So later I'll show you more. I'll talk a little bit more about sharing, but let me show you this right now. I'm going to copy the link. Oops, I'm going to change that to, I don't want edit. I want it to be view. Oh, it needs to be comment or above. Let's do comment. Copy link. Okay, I'm going to do an incognito window just so you can see what it looks like because the student's not going to log in. I just want them to access it. You could have students log in so you do know what their what each student did, but I do believe in order to do that, the students would need to be connected via Canvas first as well, and I'll talk about that piece at the end. So I'm going to start as a guest, and you'll see where this is where I can bring things over, and I'm probably not putting this in the right place because I'm just trying to drag it over. And you'll see where when I first did this, I wasn't identifying right versus wrong. I was just setting up the activity. So now it's submitted. So then I can view my results. I can see what I did. And it's comparing me to what other people are submitting. And so now if I go back to the teacher screen, and so I can see how many students have submitted. If I view the results, I have, and because the person hasn't logged in, I'm not getting a real name. But as more and more students submit, I'll have a list of people here that I can review, and I can actually see an overview. And what it's telling me, it says agreements, like how many people put all of these into the right category. And you, the teacher, are going to know what the right answers are. It allows you just to do a quick glance of, okay, did a lot of people put the liquid molecules in the right place, or is there a huge, I can recognize there's a big misunderstanding of certain pieces. I hope that makes sense. So kind of cool with the activities where you go through and see how, and I can actually do the objects, I can actually see, did everyone have it in the right place? And it's agreements versus right versus wrong. So think of it kind of like you weren't able to identify the actual correct answers. But if I saw that 6 out of 12 people were not in agreement of where the solid should be placed, that tells me I probably have some re-teaching to do, or when I have actual student name here, I can click to see who I maybe need to check in with. So that is the student or the visual activities. Let me go to the next screen. So with the breakout boards, and with this, I'm not going to jump over to Lucid, but it's something for you to explore, especially with, if you do like to do breakouts with students where they can work in groups, but you can create breakout boards. Up to 50 breakout boards can be created for a small group collaboration. So that way, rather than having all of the students working in one collaboration board, you can have them in smaller groups. You can manage participants, so you can easily start sessions and share direct links for participants to join. There are facilitation options, so like joining, renaming, duplicating, and even embedding links. And then there are the collaboration features where you can assign colors. So a lot of those facilitation options that you have with the regular whiteboard, you have when you also do the breakouts. And once again, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but showing you where you would do the breakout. Let me do it from my board, actually. Let's go back to the board. So here is where, that was the breakout. Oh, sorry, breakout. And then this is where I can do a new breakout board. And then you'll see where I can adjust some of that. And I can add, I can get the link, I can do add collaborators. Where's my collaborators? I can copy the link, I can share it with people. This is where you can see you have a lot of those same facilitation options. I'm going to go back, and then that breakout board once again is where I was trying to click on this. Join, rename, copy link, duplicate, delete. So I can even get rid of it if I want to. So a way to create your main board and then create some breakouts for students to once again work in small group. And so with Lucid Chart, I did spend a lot of time on Lucid Spark, but Lucid Chart, very similar. Like I said, with this one, rather than it being more brainstorm, collaboration, it's more, you can still collaborate, but it's designed more to create like a flow chart, graphic organizers, timelines. And so you'll see where this is just a quick example of like you have a process going to the, if you're trying to create a flow chart. But like Lucid Spark, you can start with a blank project, templates. You can add shapes, containers, themes. Those visual activities can also be added to Lucid Chart. You can generate diagrams and more. So jumping over to Lucid, I'm going to go back to the home. And if I do new, I can do Lucid Chart. I said I can do from a blank document. I'll show you the templates because you can always change your mind and say, I do want templates. I'll be honest, I've spent most of my time in Lucid Spark, but I have used Lucid Chart when I wanted to do things specific to like a flow chart. That's where it's been the most helpful for me. But you'll see where I can click on the templates. And I can actually choose templates and very similar to what you might get when you're doing Lucid Spark. I have the sticky notes, the text, and here's the flow chart icons that are more specific to types of flow charts you can create, and you can even generate with an I love this because you can say, and I'll use one of its example, draw a flow chart. So you could actually prompt it to start creating a specific flow chart, click generate, and it will generate it over here. So you'll see where it can get created. And then I have the ability to even like move, let's see, finish editing. I should be able to move some of these things around. Not really. Maybe not. I thought you, no, you can. For some reason I'm doing this on the fly. But you'll see where I can edit, I can delete some of the things. So I can definitely let it generate something for me, and then I can make it into, I can refine it, I can add to it, I can delete, I can adjust it to what I need it to be. So very quick, I will have another bite-sized PD on the Lucid chart as well, where we can explore that a little deeper. But once again, the whole point of this bite-sized PD is to give you a good introduction, help you get started so you can at least start accessing. So when it comes time to share with students and other educators, you can do it directly through the Lucid app, but once again, you do have to connect the Lucid account first via Canvas. But in the upper corner, you have the share option where you can add individuals, add them to the collaboration board. You can get a shareable link. Or in Canvas, you can actually embed the Lucid document, or you can do it as an assignment. I'll show you both real quick. In Lucid Spark, let me actually go back to, let me go into one of mine. You'll see the share option, and this is where you can add individuals. You can update what are the editing features or the editing options, or it's view, comment only. The shareable link that you can post like in a Canvas course, or you can share however you share your links with your students. Once again, updating your share features. And then in Canvas, if you're on, I'm just going to go to an assignment because I can show you both options when I'm creating an assignment. Because you can do this on a Canvas page, in a discussion, in anywhere you have this rich content editor. If you go to the little plug, this is our external tool option, there's something called Embed Lucid Document. If you don't see it right away, click on View All and it'll appear on the list. It'll have you connect to your Lucid account. Because I'm already logged in, I should automatically be in. So if you have to click on anything, just follow the prompts to get in. You can find whatever it is you might want people to review, hit continue. You can adjust the user access, if it's edit, comment, view only, and then you can insert. So a way to still provide access to that collaboration board without requiring students to log in. And then if you wanted to do as an assignment, you could have your directions here in the rich content box. And then you can change it from external tool to Lucid. And then you click on Lucid, and just like we saw with when I was trying to embed it on a page, it'll just connect me to my Lucid account. I'm actually going to choose Lucid Spark, my document. So this is where you can choose a blank document. I like starting with some type of template for students to work from. I can actually click on what I want it to be. And this is a lot like when you're using like a Google Doc or the Google LTI. It now creates a copy for each student. So then when they submit it, you have access to it in speed grade or 2 grade. So anyway, those are the 2 different options you can share with students. And even with other educators, if you want to collaborate with other educators, you can definitely share if you guys are in a Canvas course together, or you can share using the share options in Lucid. So a lot of information in a very short amount of time. If anything, I hope that you are willing to go in and just try Lucid out. It's a pretty cool tool, especially, like I said, if you're looking for a great collaboration board, an alternative to Jamboard if you're a user of that. And so if you'd like relicensure credit for watching this bite-sized PD, don't forget to go to this link on the screen and then check out our other bite-sized PDs, and then be on the lookout for a future bite-sized PD where we'll do something on the Lucid Spark frames and paths, and even dive a little deeper into Lucid Chart.